Welcome to the Vol Bros, presented by the Old Walk Club. My name is Evan. This is my brother Ruston, and we are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. And we are always very appreciative of the Old Walk Club. They're so good to us. And we are proud representatives of the University of Tennessee on the Believe Entertainment Network. It's been a rough weekend on Rocky Top in multiple different sports. Tonight, we're going to focus on football. We always start with our initial takeaways and stuff like that. But before we do that, we've had a ton of comments coming in so far. I just want to run through them real quick. If I don't get yours now, I promise I'm going to try to. Oreo Puppy Dog, welcome. Glad you're here. He said 7-5 season, potentially. I think we're going to win more than that. But Nolan, channel member, said, I said 9-3 at the start of the year with a healthy McCoy and Gibson, and I'm sticking to it. I think Florida is winnable. Florida is very winnable. And Vandy is very beatable. Also agree. The catch is we need to execute. Agreed. No dumb mistakes. Absolutely. Mississippi Vol, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. As a channel member, he said we had Coach V back in the house. Absolutely. Casey brought his family across the country. Blake Burke and countless other former players, not to mention the fans that paid a lot of money. And that's the product that they put on the field. Shameful. Agreed. Mississippi Vol said sure did hate about Ruby, but didn't really give Coach Caldwell much of a choice. That is correct. Let's see. Mississippi Vol said as pitiful as our performance was, at least we're not Auburn. They couldn't even get to their end zone on their own field, and their students were chanting "Fire Hugh" at the end of the game. Let's see. Never a good thing if your students are chanting that. Mina Lackey, welcome. Great to have you. She said 9-3 probably is where we're going to end up. Richard, hey, back in Tennessee. Glad you're back in Tennessee, buddy. Good to have you, man. All the way from Trey Smith's hometown in Jackson, Tennessee. Let's see. Jonathan, welcome, bud. He said, hello, Evan and Ruston chat family. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I can confidently say Oklahoma didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. I agree with a lot of that. I do think we got, well, I'm not going to give away my thoughts yet, but I'll do that in just a minute. Like you said, trying to deal with losing an hour of daylight. Amen. I was like, man, it's so late. And it was like 5 o'clock. I was like, oh, okay. Let's see here. Jonathan said that was by far Joey's worst game in Tennessee. He looked lost in the first half. In the first quarter, I mean, we should have 20 points in the first quarter. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Mississippi Vol said, hit that like and subscribe button. Totally agree. Matt, welcome, buddy. He said, I might have to sit this one out and just listen. I understand. You're going to hear me say more negative things tonight than probably any other show we've ever had. Let's see. Jonathan said, don't forget to tell your mom and them about the Vol Bros. Totally agree, man. All right, Will. Well, glad you're here, Will. Glad you're here, man. Stingray's here. Welcome, buddy. Slim is here. Welcome, buddy. Me don't like it. She said, even in Evan Ruston, or was that Shrek? Yeah, Ruston was cameoing a Shrek on Friday. That's true. Elijah, welcome, buddy. He said, ready for a few rants tonight. Yep, you might get them. Elijah said, dumb mistakes are our MO. That's fair. Tony said, I think Kitzelman should play defense. He would fit right in. As far as he can't tackle. Yeah, that would make sense. That's a good one. Brent, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said we gained 456 yards on a team, only allowing 132 yards per game, but we couldn't cash in on the points. You're exactly correct. Tony said maybe they should do dark mode and hype videos more often. It really scared Oklahoma. Well, I will be honest. Every media person from Oklahoma who has been at the game have all said that was the best college football atmosphere they've ever been a part of. And those are Oklahoma people saying it's better than Oklahoma. One person said Neyland is next level. I mean, they all said it was the best atmosphere they've ever been a part of. Will said, I remember Ruston's concern was Joey's interceptions, and he was right. That is very fair. Sanjay said, we have issues, but firing people not a solution like other teams. I agree. We'll need some changes in some areas, and I'll get to that in my thoughts. Rhonda, welcome. So it feels like somebody's put a hex on us. I agree, and I'll get to that in my thoughts as well. That's a fair statement. We got battered ball syndrome flaring up big time in me right now. Real Puppy Dog said 4th and 1 season on line. We'll talk about that too. I have thoughts about that specific play. Let's see here. Mississippi all said, I know one thing. I'm still enjoying all this Halloween candy. Yeah, my son hid his from me, which really kind of bothered me. It was pretty funny. John said, I actually think our defense played better this week. I mean, they only allowed technically 9 offensive points in the first half, but I'm only going to say 6 because the last field goal should never have happened. I don't know what in the world Ethan Davis was doing after the interception. He just shoved the dude instead of trying to tackle him. So that play never. We literally gave them 3 points at the end of the half, and our offense did it, not our defense. A couple more comments, and then we'll get into Ruston's thoughts here. Elijah said we need a GM. Boo Carter making $500,000 and not play a single defensive snap and fair catch or drop every single punt. Yep, hard to argue with you there, Elijah. Hard to argue. He said wasting money. Yep. Let's see. I feel like his children can be so cruel. Yep. Tony said when you can't run the football at all, then you put it all on the quarterback 2 games in a row. No running game. All right. So with all that, Ruston, let's get your thoughts first, because then you may have to settle in for a minute when I start going, because I got a lot to talk about. So,
well, first, I'm not sure what Elijah means about a GM. I thought them not playing Boo was the appropriate thing. We were
I think
all
he's
on
agreeing
here.
with you. I think he agrees with you.
Well, what's that have to do with a GM?
He's saying they need to manage their money that they're dishing out better. Not give somebody $500,000 just to stand on the sidelines and
that was decided before the season started, and they can't change it now.
Yeah.
They're cutting bait and moving on. I was thankful to see it. Jalen McMurray got a lot more snaps than usual. Idris Farouk got a lot more snaps than usual, and I thought they both played really well.
Idris sure did.
So, it's unfortunate that we wasted a fantastic effort by the defense. The defense played extremely well all night. Even when the offense put them in terrible situations, they rose to the occasion and typically held Oklahoma to 3. You can't ask for a better night from the defense. I'll fight that all the days long. They played, in my opinion, their best game of the year. Offensively, I saw 2 major issues, and one of them was bound to happen at some point. When you spend your entire career in a mode of bad habits, no matter how much time you spend, if it just takes time to undo bad habits. And when you get into very pressure cooker situations, which clearly Joey was feeling, multiple times they showed his face on screen. He had deer in the headlights look. He was making just unbelievably poor choices. And I'm not even talking about on the 2 interceptions. The 2 interceptions were just horrendous decisions. I mean, there's no other word for it. It was just awful. They were both indefensible. He threw 2 lame ducks up into double and triple coverage. And on one of them, Heupel was even looking at him going, what are you doing? What in the world were you looking at? He got freaked out. He allowed the emotion of the moment to take control, and he reverted to his old habits. And, it was bound to happen once this year. Unfortunately, it happened last night. I wish it had happened against Georgia or Alabama so that, he could get it out of his system and learn and grow from it. I think he'll play lights out the rest of the season. He'll take this, he'll learn, he'll grow, he'll get better. I think we'll win the last 3 games and finish 9-3. And he'll probably play extremely well. And then we'll be the most attractive team on the bowl market because we'll be the best team not in the playoffs. So, we'll make a good little paycheck off that. to me, there's two much greater concerns. Number one, and it hasn't really shown up until last night. It's shown up in small parts, but nothing that was overly definable. We are really, really missing Mike Eckler. We have got to be better on special teams. There are three phases of the game, and right now we're conceding one of them. And we've got to get better. I mean, even the two onside kicks. Seriously, that's our best we have. We're going to line up the exact same way and let the kicker decide if he's kicking it to the right or kicking it to the left. It was just
Terrible.
The lack of creativity on punt return. We haven't blocked a punt all year. We haven't blocked a field goal all year. Like, it's just vanilla. We're just playing base stuff. We're not trying to create anything. We're just trying not to get hurt. And Mike Eckler, for people used to freak out that he never ran any fake punts, but dadgummit, we were electric in every other phase of special teams. And he was a firebrand who was going to come out there and have dudes ready to go. I do not see that passion. I do not see any improvement. I see just don't screw it up. And you can't play that way. The other major issue I see, and I hoped second half last week was a wake-up call because the first half was horrendous. And then we came out last night and we carried the ball 35 times for 98 yards. We averaged 1.8 yards per carry. You cannot win in the SEC unless you can run the ball effectively, consistently, week in and week out. Joey is a better player if we run for at least 150 yards. We have three future NFL running backs in that backfield. Those three guys are running the ball as hard as they possibly can, but there is nowhere to run. That front five does a pretty good job in pass protection. They are awful in run blocking, just awful. And it's a shame. We're wasting three premier running backs on an offensive line that cannot open a hole to save their life. And it's becoming a weekly event. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's, in practice we are a passive pass first team and they just don't have a fight about them. I don't know if it's Glenn Ellerby has, if the game has passed him by and he's just not a good run block coach anymore. But at the end of the season, they're going to have to do some reviews and they're going to have to make some hard choices. If they want to take the next step and they don't want to be a 9-3 or 10-2 team, they want to be a legit playoff team every year. We got to get better on special teams. We got to get better at offensive line, and we've got to. Honestly, I would even take a look at the strength and conditioning crew because it's unreal how every year we seem to have injury issues and lack of depth. And I watched Texas and Vanderbilt Saturday. Texas's top four wide receivers, two were out before the game ever started, and the other two got knocked out in the first half. Real injuries. Texas didn't miss a beat. Their fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth wide receivers came in and put on a show, played great. We're terrified to put those dudes on the field. And if we have an injury, like we avoid putting that guy out there and we throw it away from him. We've talked all year about lack of depth at linebacker. They've known who the roster was since July. Why didn't they make a concerted effort to make sure they had that depth? We're playing the same five guys on the offensive line, and we're not challenging them, and we're not competing, and they're not physical. Like, they're good pass blockers, but they're terrible run blockers. Where is that physicality? I tend to believe it's typically a lack of strength and conditioning. So I think they got to look at all of it in the offseason. If they want to take the next step, if they want to consistently beat Georgia and Alabama, you got to get better at offensive line, got to get better on special teams, and have to get bigger, faster, stronger, and be more physically imposing. The fourth down call, I didn't actually have an issue with the play call. I thought it was actually a really good play call. I have an issue with the fact that Ethan Davis wasn't in the game. Why you're throwing that to Jack Van Dorselaer, I have no idea. When you've got a guy who is having a coming out party in front of our eyes. Ethan Davis had his best game of all, and why he wasn't in on that play, I don't know. But I think there's a bigger issue. It's 4th and 1 in the SEC. You load up with a jumbo package. You've got Peyton Lewis back there as a bruiser. You can't go run and get 1 yard. You can't get under center and go line up and pound the ball at Oklahoma and go get 1 yard. And not only do you not think you can't do it, you get in the gun and throw play action. That told me everything I needed to know about our offensive line. The fact that he didn't believe they could go get 1 yard with a physically larger team, something's got to change there.
Totally agree. Had an Oklahoma fan join us and said those were perfectly kicked onside, and I'm a Sooner fan. I can grant you the first one was okay. The Oklahoma player made a great play catching the ball out of air. Star Thomas would have had it if he hadn't got it. The second two were terrible. The second one never even happened because Oklahoma called timeout. So Tennessee lined up and indicated that they were going to kick it to the left. They came out of the timeout in the exact same formation and did the exact same thing, kicked it to the left. And if you watch the ball, it wouldn't have even gone 10 yards. Like even if the guy didn't come up and catch it before it went 10 yards, it never would have made it 10 yards because it was the angle it was going out of bounds. It didn't get a big hop. It was just rolling on the ground. It was a terrible onside kick. Neither one of them had a super high hop to give your team time to get under it. But
my issue wasn't the kick themselves. The second kick was horrendous. The first one was good. My issue is the complete lack of creativity. We came out 2 onside kicks and lined up in the exact same formation.
Yep.
Like, show them something different. Make them move around. Make them have a little bit of concern. They literally just lined up the exact same way, and we're like, okay, well, they kicked it that way that time, so they're probably coming over here this time.
Which they did.
It wasn't hard.
Which they did. Let's see. John said, even with that performance, I still believe in Joey. I also agree our special teams is severely lacking as opposed to the last few years. Tony said, you're correct. Joey made bad decisions on the interception. Without him, though, this team doesn't win 6 games. He's the best option the team has at this point. Yeah. I mean, I think we both agree.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying this is what I was concerned about in the preseason. He reverted to old habits. He did the things that he's shown on film in the past. And I wouldn't even just say the 2 interceptions were bad decisions. I think he made multiple bad decisions. On the 4th and 1 call, he got skittish and threw that ball early. I don't even actually hold Jack Van Dorselaer that responsible for missing the pass. Joey threw it too early. He didn't allow him on that play. You tell the quarterback to let the guy clear and make sure he's open in the flat before you throw it. For that very reason, he's coming through a bunch of clutter. It's hard to get your head turned and get back outside or get back inside before the ball gets there. Joey panicked and threw it early. So even the 4th and 1 somewhat was Joey's fault. There were a lot of things like that all night. He just made some really bad decisions. There was an RPO where he, first of all, he should have given it. The read was a give read. He didn't. He pulled it, tried to throw the screen, realized the screen wasn't open, and then took a 2-yard loss. It's an RPO. It's either a give or it's a screen. Those are the 2 choices. He chose neither and took a loss. That can't happen.
Bender String said Heupel needs to upgrade his staff the way he's trying to upgrade his team. Like he said, wholeheartedly agree with that assessment. Ruston. Tony said Oklahoma had 2 of their best players out and still was more physical on defense. They also had 2 true freshmen starting at each tackle spot on their offensive line, and we only got to the quarterback 3 times. That's a problem. Let's see.
They ran for what? 211 yards? 159. They ran for 159 yards behind 2 starting freshman tackles.
Ryan, welcome, buddy. He said, Ron's a good friend. He said, I'm glad Ruston brought up the O-line. Not a good game from them, and everyone's blaming Joey. He still threw for 396 yards and 3 touchdowns on a good defense. Yep, that's true. Nolan said, with the depth issues, how do you fix that? If you get a bunch of freshmen, some won't pan out, and if you don't play them, they'll leave. Then you can't get 4 portal guys at the same position.
I think you have to develop guys and have them ready. The issue isn't. I don't believe the issue isn't that the guys aren't there. The issue is our coaching staff doesn't feel they're ready, and they're refusing to give them an option. So then you run your offense, you run your defense from a place of fear because you're trying to protect guys and not get them hurt because you're worried about who's behind them. And I think you got to do creative things in practice to get them game reps that make you feel comfortable putting them in, so that when a guy does go down, it's like, okay, no problem, next man up. It's easy for people to say that. It's a whole different thing to actually be prepared for it. And I feel like we have a lot of coaches who say that but don't really mean it.
James said we have to use star and screens and wheels out of the backfield. We aren't using them the right way at all. We did run one screen with him last night, and it was fantastic. It worked out really well. They did a great job of motioning out. I think it was actually Van Dorselayer. Motioning him out and drew everyone's attention that way. And then straight up, middle screen to star, and it was beautiful. Jeff brings up an interesting point here. You want me to save this for later? We'll come back and talk about this later.
Nah, just do it now.
He said, if Joey isn't coming back, what's the reason to not play George? Now, this is actually one of the things that I was going to bring up later in the show. It will be very interesting to see how many people do not play the rest of the year. How many people are going to, and I'm including Jermon McCoy in that. How many people who know they'll get drafted, who know they have a spot in the NFL waiting on them next year, are going to sit out the rest of the season so that they don't get injured, so that they get drafted. That is the reality of college football now. Joey Aguilar is not one of those people. Joey is still trying to earn a draft pick. He's trying to get drafted. And so he will play every single snap they let him, and he'll play in the Senior Bowl, the Reese's, Senior Bowl at the end of the year. Joey will play every snap he can get. But I also understand, do you want to start just building for next year? I don't think you can do that to this team. I don't think you can do that to Joey Aguilar. I think you have to let him play the rest of the season. Elijah said, could you imagine McIntyre starting in the swamp? We may not score a point. It would be shades of Nathan Peterman from 2014. That's what it would look like. Let's see. Some of the other comments that came through. Elijah said there's a development problem. Something has to change. I'm not sure what it is, but it's something. Matt said, I respectfully disagree about Ellerby. He might have been the only assistant coach that made changes. He is also recruited well. He just played the highest blitz rate defense in the SEC with big talent.
But I didn't say he wasn't doing a good job. I said there's something lacking in the physicality realm. And I don't know what's going on, but the last few weeks they've been awful on the run. And I actually said they do a great job on pass pro. They're a very good pass pro team. But they are awful run blocking, just terrible. They can't open a hole to save their life. And, last week against a god-awful Kentucky team, we ran the ball for 38 yards in the first half. At one point, we were averaging less than 1 yard per carry. So I don't know if they've fallen in love with the pass and they have decided that they're going to be a pass 3 out of 4 time team. And so they're just spending an inordinate amount of time in practice working on pass pro. But we have lost all semblance of physicality in the run game. And we have no desire to go run and pound and get 2 or 3 yards. Like, we just will not open that hole.
Jonathan said, did we have a missed tackle yesterday? The only one I can remember was Tyree West trying to reach out with one arm while being blocked. We had several missed tackles. Miles Kitzelman probably being the biggest one, Ethan Davis being the second biggest one. But then the defense had quite a few as well. Let's see.
It wasn't so bad as in the past though. Like the missed tackles
I agree
we
with
did have
that.
on
Yeah.
defense, it was mostly being overly aggressive. Like, the 3rd and 16 scramble when Mateer ended up getting 20 and got the first down. That was one guy not playing his position correctly, and then 2 or 3 others missing tackles. It's
Jared said, boo back in the doghouse. Not one single defensive play, just special teams. There was a rumor circulating that he was also struggling with a little bit of an injury. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
I think it was. I think the injury was a convenient time to bring up after he had his worst game ever as a Vol.
Yeah. Nolan said, do you think we have too many recruiters and not enough developers on the team? He said, and/or scheme guys. Certainly not in the quarterback room.
But the issue isn't scheme. The issue is desire and physicality. I felt like the defense played really hard yesterday. I felt like they were trying to be as physical as humanly possible. I felt like they were really getting after it. But again, on special teams, we just don't want to make a mistake. On the offensive line, we're not looking to go whip somebody. We're just trying to keep them out of the backfield.
Rhonda said, do we have anyone else who can kick? Now, here's what's interesting about this. Right now, the person with the highest career make percentage on field goal kicks in Tennessee football history is Max Gilbert, who is currently kicking for Tennessee. This season, 2025, he has the highest make percentage of any kicker in any season in Tennessee football history. The problem is the ones he has missed have been in high pressure, really important moments. That's when he's missing them. That's a big problem to have. And so those are all, those are the only ones he's missed, but those are the most important ones, right? And so you got to have somebody like, I think of Vanderjagt from the Colts back in Peyton's day. Dude didn't miss. Adam Vinatieri for the Patriots, dude didn't miss. When the game was on the line in high pressure moments, they didn't miss. And unfortunately for Max, even though he's statistically the best kicker in the history of the school, people remember the ones that he misses because they are high pressure moments. Let's see. Jeff said Golish was known to start practice over for too many years. We got to have some discipline that demands excellence. My only problem with players, coaches. Nolan said we're still decently balanced run/pass on this year, aren't we? Even though we seem to pass it a lot.
Sort of. So they ran 10 more pass plays and run plays Saturday. But it's not so much about the run pass balance. It's about the desire to run the play. Like, I don't see our offensive line really coming off the ball on run plays going, we're going to go whip somebody at the point of attack and we're going to get 5 yards right now. I see guys just going to their locations, getting to their spot, trying to win a one-on-one, but not really trying to manhandle somebody. It's amazing. Sometimes I think we're more physical on pass pro than we are run pro. It's bizarre to watch. Like, Lance Hurd is extremely physical in pass protection, but he takes plays off in run blocking. It's just really, really bizarre.
Elijah said, I don't care about his percentage. He's missed the biggest kicks of the season. Yeah, that's what matters, right? Those are the ones that matter. Elijah said, Miles made me mad when he returned the fumble. Just tackle. Stop trying to punch the ball out. You got ragdolled by a dude on one leg and using one arm. That's fair. Jonathan said, I question, he agrees with you if we need a new strength and conditioning coach because we don't seem to be strong enough. Oriel Puppy Dog said, Max is not a clutch kicker at all. Georgia game, he looked like he's going to pass out. Yeah, totally agree. Nolan said kickers without a clutch gene are like a big scary guard dog that won't actually bite an intruder. Yeah, totally agree. 100%. Bender String said also, why are we so little on the interior of the defensive line this year? David Hobbs is a big dude. Other than him, you're right. We are not large at that position.
So Tyree West is 290. Bryson Easton's 310. Let's see. Jackson Moy's 305.
Tony said, dating back to last year, 5 straight losses to ranked teams. Will said, is Heupel good enough to take y'all to the promised land? If not, you're just spinning your wheels. Trust me, I know that situation. I live in Cleveland.
Nathan Robinson's 300. Dominic Bailey's 290. The reality is Rodney Gardner doesn't want – so like Elijah Simmons, somebody mentioned him. He was overweight. They didn't want him to be that big. Rodney Gardner would much rather have someone who's got some quickness to him plus size, and he would rather have somebody who's a little smaller that's faster than a huge body that can't move. So some of that's just what it is. As far as his height, good enough to take you to the promised land. If not, you're just spinning your wheels. Well, sort of. I mean, it's a whole lot better right now to be us than Florida State or Auburn or Florida or Penn State
or Clemson
or LSU. I mean, you can look across the country and there's multiple blue blood programs that are absolutely struggling right now. And, we're worried about a 9-3 season. So, everybody needs a healthy dose of perspective in that regard.
Yep. Rebel Juice said, had a bad gut feeling about Oklahoma in preseason, felt like an upset loss. It felt like 9-3 season preseason. We're at that now, but gut feeling says one more loss coming, 8-4 season. That's certainly possible. Elijah said, OU makes a 55-yard, 51, and we miss a 35-something yard. That's a 9-point difference. We lost by 7. That's the game right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's just that. We had a
certainly part of
score.
It.
We had a scoop and score go against us because our freshman right tackle blocked no one.
Yeah,
twice. That was.
I'm going to get to that
solidly.
In my thoughts and takeaways.
That was solidly on David Sanders.
Matt said Gilbert's missed chip shot shut the stadium down. Unbelievably frustrating. Let's see. Mike Stowe, who played for a major, said the offensive line wasn't good at all yesterday. Nolan said, yeah, I'll never know how kids didn't make that tackle. Grab his face mask, fall on the ground, horse collar him, take the 15-yard penalty, and save the touchdown.
Yep.
Mr. Osborne, welcome, buddy. He said, I've not been impressed with LRB, his coaching, and he's not a good recruiter overall as I view it. Plus, having Sampson last year helped the O-line, as he's obviously a great running back. Richard said, we need a David Cutcliffe. He was the man that cracked the whip on offense. Fulmer was the player's buddy. We don't have this guy on offense. Oreo said, I just hope Hype didn't reach a ceiling in 2022. We're not growing and very undisciplined at the most needed times. Let's see here. I'm going to, people talking about interior line. He said, it shows how having.
Hold on, go back to that comment though.
This or
when Omar Norman Lott got here, he was 255. Okay, so that's not a size issue. That's a motor right there. He added some good weight, but he was not huge.
Sam said the scoop and score was the game. If he blocks the guy, we had a guy wide open, 14-0, the game's over. This Tennessee team doesn't the worst stuff at the even worse times. Yep, for sure. Dog said, do y'all think Georgia McIntyre is y'all's starter next year? No. I think the starter for Tennessee at quarterback next year is currently not on the roster. I think that's going to be a transfer. Let's see. Oh, James. Yep. James, you're right. It's part of my thoughts and takeaways I'm about to get to. Matt said, should have beat him by 20. Tennessee just handing out losses like coupons. Yep.
So you and I are going to disagree on that one. So let me comment on that real quick. Whether people
we might not actually. We might not disagree. Just
do you think he should have taken? Do you think he should have taken the penalty?
Let me give my whole rundown about it. Because I got thoughts. Rebel Juice said, being a Vols fan is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's exactly right, buddy. That's exactly right. Let's see. Sam said, it's just sad to know we're 3 plays away from being 8-1 and 9-0. Amen, brother. Yep. Absolutely. Amen. Let's see. Mr. Osborne said, I believe we can get to 9-3. We got to run the ball against Florida. Absolutely. Absolutely. BG's welcome, buddy. He said, hype's good cop. We need a bad cop. Goals used to be the bad cop. All right. So here are my thoughts and takeaways. Everyone buckle in. It's time for the airing of grievances, as Frank Costanza would say. Here's my thing. If you've watched our show for any length of time, you probably have never, ever heard me say we got outcoached. I might have said it maybe one time in 3 years. Side note, hey, yesterday was our 3-year anniversary of our show. How about that? Thank you all so much for 3 awesome years, and we look forward to many, many more. But very rarely, if ever, I really may think maybe never, have I ever said we got outcoached, because I hate that. Because people say it so flippantly all the time. Man, there's always somebody on Twitter or wherever. Anytime you lose, we got outcoached. I mean, okay, Ruston used to be a coach. I used to be a high school baseball coach. There are things that when you lose as a coach, you are, yeah, Will said, happy Festivus. There are things when you lose that as a coach, you sit there and critique yourself and what you could have done differently. And I'll be honest with you, there were multiple times that I would think, but you know what? I coached them repeatedly in practice for hours to do the exact opposite of what they did. So I told them to do one thing. They did the exact opposite. So clearly that's not coaching in that particular moment. So that's why I'm very, very hesitant to ever say, oh, we got outcoached. Because the only way you can say that is if there are very specific things that happen in the game where the coach was in control of that thing happening or not happening. And unfortunately, I've got 6 things written down that happened yesterday that we got outcoached on. That Venables and his staff outcoached Heupel and his staff. Because there's 6 very specific things that we were in control of. Here's number 1. Second play of the game. First play, Joey starts to pass it, has second thoughts, tries to pull the ball down, fumbles it. Thankfully, he gets on it. So it's 2nd and 18. Why is it that everybody and their mama, and I guarantee you every Tennessee fan, because I was thinking it, when they snapped the ball, immediately I thought they're going to run up the middle. Like immediately as they're snapping the ball, because that's what we have done every single time we've been in that situation for the last 5 years. Now, if I, sitting in my living room in Chattanooga, am watching this going, it's 2nd and 18, we're about to run the ball up the middle. Don't you think that Oklahoma's entire defensive staff knew we were about to run the ball up the middle too? Absolutely they did, which is why we gained 0 yards on that play. So, in that situation, the first year Heupel was here, it worked because nobody expected it. He was able to run it up the middle, gain about 7 or 8 yards, and make it 3rd and manageable. That worked. It doesn't work anymore in year 5 because everyone knows, including your whole fan base, everyone knows it's 2nd and 18. We're about to run it up the middle. That's coaching. That's coaching. So that was numero uno. As we progress through the game, we get to the second thing. Some people have already referenced it. Last week against Kentucky, David Sanders had a very similar play to the one that almost got Joey killed yesterday, where he went and tried to chip and help with the guard and totally missed his dude. Totally missed him. Well, apparently Oklahoma's coaching staff saw that and said, that's our ticket right there. And they made David Sanders look bad twice during the game because they straight up out schemed David Sanders and had him thinking he didn't have anybody to block. And then brought, in one case, a linebacker around. In one case, there's a dude standing right there. And for some reason, he didn't think he had that guy. Instead, he did exactly what he did against Kentucky and went and chipped against the guy that the right guard was blocking. And we had a dude running free. And both times, Joey got blown up because David Sanders straight up missed his man. And so kudos to Venables and his staff because they saw that on tape and they said, yeah, we're taking advantage of that. We're taking advantage of that. And they sure did. And they straight up out schemed us in that. That was coaching. Number 3, holding call. Let's get to that one now. It was what, 3rd and 8? So it would have been 3rd and 18. Is that correct? It was something like that. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8.
And it was 3rd and 8. It was 3rd and 8, or it could be 2nd and it wasn't the same distance. I want to say it was like 2nd and 16 or 3rd and 8 were the options.
Well, it ended up resulting in a 4th down. So it was either 3rd and something, or it was like 3rd and 5 or something like that. And it would have been 3rd and 15 or 4th and 5, and they kick a field goal. So Heupel chose to decline the penalty because, I mean, hey, it's 55 yards. I get it. But let's really think about what happened there. If he takes that penalty, it's now, let's be generous towards Hype. Let's say it was 3rd and 5, so now it's going to be 3rd and 15. First of all, that 55-yard field goal now becomes a 65-yard field goal. They're not kicking it. And they would have to get at least 10 yards on the subsequent play to get back to where they were. Here's what's sad about what happened. Clearly, Heupel did not trust either his coaching staff and or his players to make a stop on the next play for a gain of 10 yards or less, which would essentially have, gotten them back to where the previous play started, which is where they ultimately ended up at 4th and 5. So he didn't trust that his guys, that's 100% right. He didn't trust that his guys could not get a stop.
I've got the play sequence right here. It was 2nd down. They had a penalty. Their options were 3rd and 8 or 2nd and 15. He chose 3rd and 8. On the next play, they ran the ball for 3 yards. That made it 4th and 5, and they kicked the field goal.
How would the holding penalty only have gotten 7 yards?
Because it was from a spot. It was a spot foul. It wasn't from the play location. It was 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Okay. So 2nd and what? 15 is what you said?
It was the options were either 3rd and 8 or 2nd and 15. He chose 3rd and 8 because he lives by analytics, and the analytics say 3rd and 8's a better down and distance than 2nd and 15. You want to eliminate play count for them. You want to give them less plays, and he trusted that they could get off the field on 3rd and 8. He didn't want to give them 2 shots at a first down.
Well, I didn't remember it being a run after that. I thought the field goal happened immediately following.
No, I'm looking at the play sequence right here.
Well, here's what I was going to say, though. Even if the field goal had been the next play, sadly, he would have made the right choice in taking, 4th down and making him kick a field goal, because we can't trust our defense to get off the field, even on 3rd and 15, i.e., the second half when it was 3rd and 22 and Baker Mayfield and John Mateer runs for a first down, gains 23 yards on 3rd and 22. So the fact that we don't trust our defense to get off the field, the fact that multiple times we can't get off the field, that needs to be examined thoroughly. I'm just saying. Either the coaching staff needs to be investigated there, not investigated, but examined, or our defensive players or something. You have to be able to get off the field on 3rd and 22. You can't let the dude. My goodness, there was one run Mateer had. We rushed 4 and dropped 7, and he had at least 20 yards of field between him and the first defender. At least. I mean, what are we doing in that situation? Like, that's coaching. You got to at least say, hey, Edwin, make sure he doesn't escape. At least have one dude assigned to Mateer, because it's not like he hadn't been running the whole season long. So that killed me. Those are coaching things.
So
I'm not done. Number 4. I'm on 4 or 6 here. Number 4.
Well, hold on. Let me just speak to the robber concept. I think that there were multiple times during the game when we had a robber in place and our linebacker didn't do his job. There was one in specific when Edwin Spillman decided to go fly into the backfield rather than stay home, and he picked the wrong gap, ended up running through a gap that a defensive lineman was going through, and he actually created the hole for John Mateer. So I think I don't know that I would necessarily say it's coaching so much as we have a linebacker in Edwin Spillman that is very overly zealous and sometimes gets himself in trouble.
So number 4. Anyway, back to finish off that other thing. What's sad is, even if it was 3rd or 4th down, whatever. I thought it was 4th down. That's why he declined it. Make him kick a field goal. It's sad that he made the right decision instead of backing him out of field goal range. It's sad because we had if you make him kick, then you're at least got to hold him to a field goal. If you give him 3rd and 15, they still might get a first down. So it's sad that that's the decision that had to be made. And in that moment, that should say something to Heupel. Like, I don't trust my defense to get off the field in 3rd and 15. That's a problem. That's a problem. That needs to be examined.
It wouldn't be 3rd and 15 to be 2nd and 15.
Well, some folks are saying that they were saying it might be the wrong sequence that you got on the screen there. Because I thought it was 4th down too, and there's some folks saying it was 4th down as well. Now here's my number 4. Let's do the 4th down play, 4th and 1, the pass to Van Dorselaer. I agree with you totally. Joey threw it too early, and he put maybe a little bit too much on it, but that's near here. That you still got to catch it. But bottom line, the ball literally hit him in the face mask. You got to catch it. You got to catch it. But here's my thing. People are like, why would you throw it to him? And people were quoting Saban on Twitter. They were like, Saban always said, in tough moments, you got to think of players, not plays. And I get that. But I also invite you to consider Steve Spurrier in the 90s. The thing that Steve Spurrier became famous for was, when they expect you to run, you throw it. When they expect you to throw it, you run. And if you're in a situation where you have to throw it, then you throw it in a way that they don't expect. Like that's what he became known for, was doing what the defense didn't expect you to do. In that situation, this is like one of those deals where if it works, he's a genius. If he doesn't, he's a moron kind of situation. Nobody thought he was going to throw it to Van Dorselaer. Why in the world would you put a true freshman in there in that moment and throw him the ball. Are you kidding me? Turns out hit him in the face mask. So it's one of those deals where if he was open, like it worked, the play worked. If he catches it, it's a first down. Heupel looks like a genius. And everybody's like, man, look at that. He trusts his players to go out and execute in a tough moment. What a coach. He trusts his guys. He proved it right there. But if he drops it, everybody's like, what are you doing? That was a stupid decision kind of thing. But I agree with what you said. I agree with what Alpha Man 06 just said. Ethan Davis should have been the guy they were throwing the ball to in that situation. Now, would people have thought they're probably throwing it to Ethan Davis? Maybe, but that might have opened up somebody else. So it's one of those situations where if you drop it, you're a doofus. If you get it right, then you're a genius. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. Last two here. Number 5. This one killed me. This was a coaching thing right here. This was a coaching decision. Oklahoma's best receiver, their big play guy, was Satania. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. He did nothing in the first half because we said, Colton, guard that dude and don't let him catch the ball. And Colton Hood did it. He guarded the dude and didn't let him catch the ball. He was following him all over the field, lined up across from him. So late in the fourth quarter, when you have to have a defensive stop to get the ball back, it's third down. You have to get a stop. You have to. Why did we then take Colton Hood off of Satania and put Jalen McMurray on him? And they immediately throw it to Satania and get an easy first down. What are we doing in that situation? That killed me in that situation. It's probably the most critical play of the game on defense so far. Let's take our best defender and put him on the opposite side of the field from their best receiver. That's a great idea. Let's do that. I mean, what in the world conversation was going on in that moment? I couldn't figure that one out. And then my last one was, I am thankful that I am not Josh Heupel having to make clock management decisions at the end of a game, because in standing on the sidelines of Neyland Stadium in a massive top 25 matchup, I'm sure that has to impact your judgment and decision making, at times. However, that's what he's getting paid to do. That's what he's getting paid to do. And the way we managed the clock at the end of the game was less than stellar. I don't know how else to say it, but despite that, we still had a chance. We still had a chance at the end. So very rarely will I ever, because listen, Josh Heupel's a heck of a better football coach than I could ever hope to be. But when there are things that are that blatantly obvious, like you taking your best defender off their best receiver in the most critical down of the game, or it's 2nd and 18 and everybody in the whole stadium knows, oh, we're about to run it up the middle, and you do it. That's a problem. That's a problem. And so should they fire him? Of course not. Of course not. People, have been saying that online. But that was a problem. And so Corrections 101 said, he's a Oklahoma guy. He said, you Tennessee folks sure know how to run a pregame production. That was cool. Absolutely it was. And we wasted it. And that's what's frustrating. And think about another problem here. The best running back in the country, the best senior in high school running back in the country from Baylor School right here in Chattanooga, was sitting in the stands to see that awesome spectacle of all the stuff. It was amazing. And then he watched us hardly run the ball at all and have any impact on the ground running. That's unfortunate. That was unfortunate. So, okay, I'm done. Those are my thoughts.
And there's so many things that had to be better. I would argue that a field goal in the middle of the second quarter that made the game 10-10 doesn't actually matter. You can't throw two lame ducks up on defense or on offense. You can't have your right tackle completely miss his assignment and give up a scoop and score. Those are the plays that killed the game. It wasn't a 55-yard field goal with 2.5 quarters left in the game. The reality is they're going to be 9-3. It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have any issue with it. We're going to be 9-3. We're going to be 9-3. We can outscore Florida, and Vanderbilt's done. They're cooked.
And here's another thing that ticked me off. It's like all of America yesterday was like, you know what? Let's get Tennessee in the playoff. And so SMU beat Miami, which had to happen for us to get in the playoff. That worked out. Like, I'm like, this is awesome. Georgia Tech got beat. And they're like, man, this is even better. Vanderbilt got beat. I'm like, would you look at that? It was served up to Tennessee on a platter. They would have been ranked number 11 today. It was served up to them on a platter. And they're like, nah, we don't need that. Just kill me. Absolutely killed me to see how they just wasted the opportunity. Very unfortunate. John said, congrats on 3 years. I'm ready for at least 50 more. Hey, I appreciate that very, very much. It's been a fun 3 years. That's for sure. Mr. Osborne said, congrats on 3 years, Vol Bros. Appreciate that so much. Mississippi Vol said, happy 3-year anniversary. Thank you so much. So if you're joining us just now, yesterday was the 3rd year anniversary of our show. Matt, appreciate you, buddy. He said, love Evan and Ruston. Congrats on 3 years, man. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Some of the comments that came through. Sam said he wouldn't have trusted the defense either. Yeah, I wouldn't have either. And that's what's sad, right? Some of the other comments here. Oriel Puppy Dog 7 Tier should have had a spy all night. Nolan said, I'll tell you off Oklahoma's offensive scheme the whole second half. Hey, Mateer, just drop back, wait a couple seconds, and then run straight forward. Yeah, and it worked. Let's see. Tony said, when the other team has 3rd and long, they have us right where they want us. I'm sick of it. I'm telling y'all, Banks is not good. The only 2 good offenses we faced last year made us look bad.
Oklahoma's offense didn't do anything. They didn't. Like, look at the scoring. They didn't do anything. They couldn't score unless we gave them a short field. Our defense did a good job. The offense blew the game all night long. Almost every series that our offense had a blow up ended up in Oklahoma points. The defense did nothing wrong.
Corrections 101 said our fans were awesome all week long. Appreciate that. I agree with that. Nolan makes a great point, and you're exactly right, Nolan. He said, if we're recruiting tight ends and we don't trust them to catch 3-yard pass, then why is he on the team? That is a fantastic point.
I didn't say I don't trust him to catch the pass. I said I don't understand why the best pass-catching tight end on the team wasn't on the field.
I agree totally. Yeah, for sure.
And it wasn't his fault that he missed the pass. It was Joey's fault. Joey threw the ball too early. He went against everything he's taught.
Yeah, it still hit him in the face mask, though.
Because he threw it too early. That guy has to chip the end guy on the line and then get to the flat. That chip discombobulates you, and it takes a second to get your head back around. Joey's told that ad nauseum. Every time they run that play in practice, he's told, you got to give him time. You got to give him time. You got to give him time. He didn't. He threw it way early. It was 100% Joey's fault.
Let's see. Let's see here. I believe Orange said Vandy isn't a guaranteed win. I agree, it's not.
Well, the team I've watched the last few weekends, I think it is.
I mean, they came back and almost beat Texas yesterday. They scored 24
Texas is
points in the
awful.
fourth quarter. I agree with
Texas's
that
top
too.
4 wide receivers didn't play and still
Cliff
scored
said,
34 points.
Cliff said we were up 17-16, got the ball back on a turnover. So we're up with the ball in the third, and we run 3 straight plays to then punt. Yeah, and the fourth down play, to Ruston's point, run blocking was abysmal in the third down play where it was the sweep with Joey to the right.
Which was
now
you want to talk bad play calls? In my opinion, that was the worst play call of the night right there. Why on earth, when we have Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, Peyton Lewis, and we need 2 yards, 2, why are we running quarterback sweep with Joey Aguilar?
That's a fair question.
That makes 0 sense.
Oriole Puppy Dog says it's been a good 3 years. I appreciate that. Rhonda said 3 years and many more to go. Thank you so much, Rhonda. Backlip Spaghetti said, wow, 3 years. Congratulations. Time's flying. Absolutely. Like I said, happy 3rd anniversary, Vol Bros. Appreciate that. I mean, y'all are what makes this so fun. It's all you guys, and we really appreciate it. John said, I wonder if part of our defensive struggles this year might be Banks getting job opportunities and not being fully focused on Tennessee. Not after the performance we've had this year. I doubt he's getting many higher.
Our defensive struggles are because of Ricky Gibson and Jermod McCoy. I don't know how many times we have to say this. If those 2 guys are on the field right now, so we play a 4-2-5 defense, the 5 being the 5 defensive backs. Right now, 4 of them are out of position. When Jermod McCoy and Ricky Gibson went down, we had to shuffle everybody to get our 5 best out there. So you put those 2 guys back in and move everybody back to the position they should be, and we immediately have the best secondary in the entire SEC. So, injuries are injuries. It is what it is, but that's why the defense has struggled at times, and last night was not one of them. They played really, really well last night.
Sam had a fantastic comment. I think this totally hits the nail on the head. He said, this is the year of what ifs for me. What if we make a field goal? What if we don't have 2 14-point swings against Bama and OU? What if Gibson and McCoy were healthy? Yeah, totally agree, man.
And I would actually say if that last what if weren't in place, the rest of them wouldn't exist. If Jermod McCoy and Ricky Gibson play this whole season, we're undefeated right now.
I mean, that's legit possible, right? I mean, that's 100% possible. I definitely think we beat Georgia, no doubt. Rhonda said, Evan and Ruston, I feel blessed that you two allow us to be part of your journey with Vol Bros. It feels like family. I appreciate that so much. That is a wonderful comment. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Rhonda, you're part of it for sure. Elijah said, all I know is it's basketball season. They do tip off tomorrow. That's true. I'm going to try to make some calls this week.
What's even weirder is the Lady Vols play at 4:00 Tuesday afternoon on ESPN2. That's just bizarre.
Well, I'm going to try to make some calls and try to get Chris Dortch on our show Thursday night since it's a bye week. I think that would be a good time to have him.
Sure.
Let's see. Our OU fan said, I've been rooting for you guys all year except when we played you after Heupel had the guts to tell Nico to kick rocks. That is character right there. I appreciate that. John said, I agree with Ruston. Joey threw it too early. Let's see.
He freaked out. He panicked.
Grilling 615 said, if our offense relies on a good running game, I feel we should really go after a 5-star running back. They are. He was in the house. He was in the house against OU last night.
But again, we have 3 future NFL running backs in the room right now. It doesn't matter who's coming down the road or who they're recruiting. They have 3 future NFL running backs right now, and this offensive line cannot they're running hard. There were multiple plays last night where our running backs were getting met at the line of scrimmage, and they were pushing the line 2 and 3 yards forward to get what they could because the offensive line isn't moving anyone, anywhere, none of them.
Yep. Elijah said, I remember being here at some of the very first streams y'all did. I love how much y'all have grown. I appreciate that so much, Elijah. You're the man, dude. We have loved having you with us the whole way, buddy. That is for sure. Let's see here. John said, I agree, Ruston, about McCoy and Gibson being out. I haven't seen improvement on defense, and that's on the coaches. Let's see.
So let's say McCoy and Gibson aren't out. Let's say they play. Now you've got Colton Hood at the nickel. You've got Jalen McMurray as a backup at all three. Ty Redmond never probably sees the field at all. You've got Idris Farouk and Turrentine at the safeties, but you've also got the ability to move Boo back to safety where he belongs and where he's not getting you hurt and he's allowed to go be an athlete. And right now, Boo might not be in the doghouse if he's back where he belongs and playing free and not having to, try to figure things out. I mean, it's just a totally different dynamic. And when your defensive backs are that good across the field, teams are a little hesitant to throw the ball. All of a sudden, your defensive line's better because they're trying to run the ball more, and you can kind of predict what they're going to do. Your linebackers get to stay home a little longer because you can kind of predict what they're going to do. It's just a totally different game, and it's a completely different season and a completely different team if those two guys are out there.
100% agree. 100% agree. Rhonda said, with all the injuries this year, really has me worried about next year adding another SEC game. That is a fair point. Totally fair point. Rebel Juice said, Elander just landed his first top recruit. It was really cool seeing the reception Elander got in the stadium last night. That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw it. Prep Baseball Report released their top 300 in this class. Did you see that list?
Mm-mm.
So in baseball circles, Perfect Game and Prep Baseball Report are really the only two groups you can really rely on. The rest of them are just guessing. Those two actually pay attention. Prep Baseball Report released their top 300. Out of the top 80, 13 going to Tennessee. 13 of the top 80 high school players in America.
Do you like how fast I did that math? That's pretty good. That was pretty fast math. I'm just saying.
Nobody in the top 100 had any number remotely close to that. I mean, it's absurd.
Nolan said, I heard we got a tight end recruit. Yeah, Flip from California today. So I hope he can catch it for real.
I hope so too, because he can't speak English. So it's going to be real interesting to teach him the offense.
Yeah. Ruston's not joking around about that. Like everything that, I mean, I hope he can speak at least some English, but I mean, it's German, right? Like, is that what, or French?
It's Austrian, whatever.
I wasn't even close.
His entire recruitment video or his entire commitment video is in Austrian.
Yeah, it's that'd be interesting to see how they do that. But apparently he's a player, so I'm all for it. Elijah said, so since we might have a lockout in the MLB in the next few seasons, do you think that helps with some of those high-level recruits making it to campus? Yes. Herb mentioned the same thing. Absolutely. James said, do we keep Legend Bay? That's a great question. For those who don't know, Legend was at Ohio State this weekend.
So I just looked it up. Because I was curious what language that was. So the primary language of Austria is German, but they also speak Croatian, Slovenian, and Hungarian. So there's no telling what that was.
Well, when I read his stuff, I thought it was in German. So let's see. I think, yes, we do keep Legend Bay because he can look at what he's seen on the field and say, man, there's not I mean, there's so little depth at wide receiver. If I come in and play well right away, I can get on the field. So yes, and then you can say, look at what we've done with Braylon Staley. I mean, dude is already rocketing up draft boards for the year after next year because of what he's done this year on the field. So that's powerful, recruiting tools. Well, I just said
There's also going to be an
totally
opening.
agree.
There's also going to be an opening next year at punt returner, so he'll have an immediate shot at that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's do our last two segments here. Rustin, why don't you give us? You want to do play or player first?
Whichever, doesn't matter.
Well, let's do play because I think that'll go probably pretty quick. We want to hear from you guys in the comments as well. What was your play of the game for the Vols yesterday? Rustin, what was yours?
Mine was Idris Farouk's punch out and recovery.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And then he followed it up on the next series with an incredible tackle in open field. It was really good. So that's a great one. I am going to go maybe off the radar a little bit. I'm giving my play of the game to Edwin Spillman. The interception he had, the reflexes to be able to, he wasn't even looking when the ball was deflected. He turned around, saw the ball falling on the ground, and like quick as a cat, reached down and caught the ball right before it hits the ground. I mean, he did all of that in like less than 1 second. It was amazing. That was one of the most incredible reaction plays I've seen in a while. So that was my play of the game. Edwin Spillman, just incredible individual effort on that. Great job by Ty Redmond on the coverage, obviously, but the way that Spillman turned around, saw the ball going towards the ground, and got it as fast. I mean, that was impressive.
I'd do an honorable mention for Braylon Staley on the 10-yard out, catching it, doing that spin move, breaking 2 tackles, and then using Chris Brazel's block to get the sideline.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was a great play. Let's see. John said, with all the freshmen playing this season, can you imagine how much better we'll be next year and the years to come? I hope so. Stingray said his play of the game was dark mode. There you go. I like that. Okay. That may have been the single best running through the tee we've ever done at Tennessee, ever. That was amazing. When all the lights went out and then they put the orange lights on the hats of the band and that lit up then to form the tee and they ran through. Goosebumps, man. That was incredible. Elijah said play was the pick we got late in the game, gave us some hope. So he picked the same one I did. That's Edwin Spillman's interception he's referring to. Nolan said Staley had a bunch of great snags. He sure did. He played a heck of a game. Oreo said the whole defense. Beckwell Sketty said both of those are worthy picks. Nolan said the same thing you did. That touchdown run where he took 2 hits, spun out of it was awesome. Absolutely. And then, dude, he turned on the Jets down the sideline. That was pretty sweet to watch. Oreo Puppy Dog said even Redmond looked good. He did. He played well. It was arguably his best game as of all. I mean, he played really well. John said, I agree with that play of the game, Rustin. That would have been my second choice, Evan. Absolutely. Like he said, both great plays. For sure. Elijah, man, great minds, dude. He said, actually, the real play of the game was the band members wearing the LED strip on their head while the players were running through the tee. That was cool. Absolutely, it was, man. Absolutely. Backwell Spaghetti said, Braylon Staley down the sideline. Yep, for sure. Matt said, Rustin, do you think what Danny White said that Tennessee is the number 2 in SEC NIL is true?
Yeah, with the new Adidas deal, we're only behind Texas.
Exactly. Like you said, we had quite a few great plays. We did. Absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, he said we think the same. That's right. John said, I just had a thought. Are we still under scholarship restrictions? I can't remember when that ends.
No.
Let's see here. Let's see. So, who was your? I think we're going to have different players of the game. Who was your player of the game?
Leading tackler with 10, also had 2 forced fumbles and a fumble recovery. Also, Idris Farouk. In my
I think it's a
opinion,
great choice.
his best game is of all.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I think Idris Farouk had his best game as of all. I think Ty Redmond has his best game as of all. I think that's a great choice. Idris had a phenomenal game. He wrapped up when he was tackling. He made open field tackles. He saved a couple really big plays by making open field tackles.
Yeah.
I think that's a great choice. My player of the game was Colton Hood. Unfortunately for corners, it's a lot like being an umpire in baseball. You know you did a good job if no one knew you were there.
Yeah.
And that's the way it was last night for Colton Hood. In the first half, did anybody think about Satania in the first half? I mean, he had 1, maybe 2 catches for a total of, I think, 4 yards in the first half. I mean, he did nothing in the first half. And that was because of Colton Hood. He is their big play dude. He had 0 explosive plays on the night. Colton Hood did his job, and he only had about 2 tackles because they never threw the ball at him. There was one time they threw a ball near him and he lit up some dude. I can't remember. I don't think it was Washington. Maybe it's Xavier Robinson. He lit somebody up, man. So Colton Hood was my player of the game because he impacted that game in a major way because he took Satania out of the game. Their biggest play wide receiver, he took him out of the game. That's a big deal. So he was my player of the game. Let's see. Some of the comments coming through. Joey, welcome, buddy. He said, player of the game was Oklahoma's place kicker. With the dude's knee pads were on his upper thigh. Like, what in the world was going on with that? Let's see. Oriole Puppy Dog said, I thought for sure we would see Ruston with a moonshine jar after the game. That's pretty funny. Elijah said, Idris Farouk played very well. His future is bright. I agree with that totally. Buckeye Nation, welcome. Glad you're with us. They said Texas is a number 1. I believe they were referring to the SEC, not nationally.
They actually are nationally also.
Well, there you go.
So they're number 1 nationally. Ohio State's number 2 nationally. They're number 1 in the SEC. And with the new Adidas deal, Tennessee is now number 2 in the SEC. That's all public record. Anybody can go see it.
As far as straight up money from the apparel provider, Tennessee will be number 1.
Right.
But
I'm saying as far as
stuff.
NIL collectives have to report all their funds. So anybody can go see those numbers.
Nolan said, not my player of the game, but Ethan Davis looked like the guy that he's been billed as for the last 2 or 3 years. I agree. The dude can flat out catch the ball. That's his MO. And my goodness, this is an honorable mention play of the game. The absolute dime that Joey threw to Ethan Davis on the seam right. He just went straight up the field. And I mean, he dropped it right over his shoulder. It was gorgeous. Just a gorgeous play. Wish we had a couple more of those. Like you agreed to Drees. Matt agreed to Drees. Absolutely. Nolan said, I'm very excited about the young talent on both sides of the ball. Oreo said, I'm set with Hood and Redmond now. They both played really, really, really well.
You may get Ricky Gibson back next year. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to go pro. He needed some games on film this year. So I don't think we lose both McCoy and Gibson. I think Gibson will take the redshirt year and come back.
I totally agree. He can't go pro after missing the whole season this year because he needed this year to prove himself. So I agree totally. He can't go pro. John said, I agree. Farouk was the player of the game. I would say Staley would be the offensive player of the game. Yeah, absolutely. Mino said, I was happy to see Arion Carter on the field. I was too. I totally agree. Matt said, y'all give the Vol Bros a like. I appreciate that very much. Appreciate anybody subscribing, and, that would be awesome. We would appreciate that. Nolan said, Colton Hood was coming with something my old defensive line or defensive coach used to say, was that your mama caught you doing something bad and now she's coming for you. Let's see. John said, I would have said Ethan Davis would have been offensive player of the game, but I had to knock him out for that horrible attempt at a tackle on the pick. Also, fair point. You can't just shove the dude when you're trying to literally save points at the end of the half. But Matt said, Alabama and Georgia still got the bag, man. Even harder to prove now.
We all do.
Yeah. Backflip Spaghetti said 2 players of the game were Farouk and Colton Hood. Matt said he thought about Gibson as well. He thinks, he's coming back, is what he's saying there, that he's not going pro. Correction said, is Joey back next year for you all, or is he a senior? So that's a great question. This is an Oklahoma fan. Joey will not be back. This is his last year of eligibility. Actually, the only way he got eligible this year was because of the Diego Pavia ruling. So this is Joey's Diego Pavia year, basically. So he's done after this. Yeah, absolutely. You got to tackle the dude on that. I totally agree. Will said, Ruston, do you think Sayan's going to win the Heisman? He was 20 for 23, 316 yards, 4 touchdowns. What do you think?
Probably, but who cares? I mean, I'm not a fan of the Heisman Trophy. I think it's a joke. I think the people who vote on it are a joke. It's the people who vote on it have no football knowledge at all.
There's some big games still out there for him too. He'll have Michigan and Indiana between now and then, so he's got to have 2 good games there for sure. I'd say it's him and Ty Simpson, in the lead right now, which baffles me. But
I haven't watched a Heisman ceremony in, I don't know, at least 20 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, y'all are awesome. It has been, let's see, Backflip Spaghetti said, I'm convinced some of our tackling woes are over concentration on stripping the ball. Agreed. That is a part of it, no doubt. But Will said no Indiana until big. Yeah, that's what I meant. The Big Ten champion. You're right. That's what I meant. Big Ten championship game. John said, I know McCoy isn't coming back since he'll be a first round pick, but I would love to see him and Gibson back next season. Yeah, I agree too, man.
I would love to see the NFL come to him with a pre-draft grade and say, hey, we don't know how your health is. We're concerned. We're not sure we think you might be a 5th or 6th rounder. That would be wonderful. Because then Jermod and Ricky would come back.
Yeah, for real. Matt said, thanks to my Vol Bros for bringing me out of the gutter today. Hey, we love you, Matt. We appreciate you, man. Rhonda said, got to go. Good show tonight. Bye. Thank you so much, Rhonda. We appreciate you. Joey said, thanks for the show, boys. Hey, appreciate you, man. You're welcome with us anytime. Every Thursday and Sunday, we'll be here. Elijah said, Indiana's schedule is laughable for sure. Corrections.
It is. It's weak, but don't sleep on that team. That team is really good.
They're good. Corrections said it'd be great to see Joey under Heupel for a second year. Totally agree. 100% agree. They've done this in 3 months prior to the season. That's how much time they had with him. It's incredible what they've done. Stingray said, I hope everyone has a great week. You too, man. Backflip Skinny said, good night, y'all. Go Big Orange. Absolutely. Elijah said Indiana basically had 1 game regular season like Ohio State and Michigan in the 14 playoff. Will said Indiana's going to get stomped by the Buckeyes. Let's see. Jonathan.
I like Jonathan's strategy.
Yeah, he said, just tell all the players that the Titans are going to pick them and then they'll all come back. I like that. Slim said, good old Rocky Top. Great show, man. Go Big Orange. Absolutely. Elijah said, yeah, they're extremely good, but the schedule's still weak. You're right, man. It is.
It is, but that also means that they're very healthy at the right time of year.
Sure. Absolutely. Elijah said they're going to be a good game. Absolutely. Our Oklahoma friend said, keep your chin up, All Nation. We love you all at Sooner Nation. You're such a great and classy fans. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Congrats to you Corrections 101 and Oklahoma's fan base. Y'all are in prime spot to make the playoff now. So we'll see, what happens Tuesday night when the college football playoff poll comes out. But we do appreciate everybody watching. It's been a lot of fun. We hope all of you have a great, great week. Go Vols, baby. And we will see all of you Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern, right here on X, Facebook, and YouTube. So have a great night, everybody. Go Vols.